A few weeks back, a friend of mine and I went for a hike in a deep Missouri woods. It was night. It was the night of the supermoon, just a few weeks back now. That supermoon hung in the trees as big as I have ever seen it. Like an ornament, it hung there. And as we walked, all we had was that supermoon and these black silhouettes of those leafless trees between the moon and us, and this owl whose call followed us. That moon, those trees, the night, and the owl, and my friend. It was enough wonder for a lifetime. I cannot tell you when the last time I cried for my suffering, but I also cannot begin to count the numbers of times I have cried from my wonder. I feel I am the richest man in the world in those times. I wonder as I wonder out under the sky. At the heart of Christmas is the experience of wonder. Christmas, like no other holiday or holy day, is life's invitation to hit the pause button so that wonder can happen, so that wonder can restore our human life, because it's wonder that makes our life human. As far as we know, trees do not wonder, but you and I can behold a tree and be hypnotized. An animal cannot wonder as far as we know, but you and I can behold the tiniest slithering thing and be entranced. What is wonder? How about that overwhelming feeling of surprise mingled with reverence and admiration, caused by something beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, inexplicable? The overwhelming feeling of being in the presence of something vast and beyond, something transcendent. It's a wham. It's one of those whams that comes upon us some days. Wonder binds us together, you and I. We realize in a moment of wonder that we're a small part of something much larger. Our thinking shifts from me to we. It helps us see things in new ways. Unlike that old fight or flight response to life, wonder puts on the brakes, and it keeps us still and attentive, and is more not about fight or flight, but more about stop and think. Did you know that wonder makes us nicer and happier? That it actually causes us to be here now in a way that seems to dissolve the self? It actually makes us act more generously, ethically, morally, and fairly. So much awesome wonder is inspired by nature. As a matter of fact, in one study I read recently, 75% of the time people talk about wonder, it has to do with nature. This past Wednesday night, I was driving back from a marriage prep for some of our alumni up in Springfield, Illinois. And I happened to glimpse out my car window in the middle of the night as I was driving back to St. Louis across the vast plains of southern Illinois. And the window was a bit steamy, but I could see these really, really bright few stars shining through. So I got off as quickly as I could the next exit, and I could not wait to jump out of the car and take a look at those brilliant, crisp stars on that winter night. Wham! I'm telling you, you get this sense, in a moment like that, you get this sense that life is so good. That no matter what's going on out there, that life is still just this good. Wonder is the beginning of faith, and a lack of wonder is the end of faith. It's no wonder the word appears over 100 times in the Bible. Wonder is all over Christmas. It's all over Christmas. It's in that story that holds the magic of the human imagination like few other stories in the history of humanity ever has. A story of a peasant man and a peasant woman clinging tightly to each other in an awful situation. The story of animals almost standing guard over this tiny little baby that had just been born. Stars brighter than the rest. Shepherds and angels and songs breaking the silence of the night. And a baby. And that life, that once baby life, on which hundreds of millions of lives have turned ever since. Hundreds of millions of lives have turned on that life. Wonder's all over Christmas. And it's in the music that tells us of the wonders of the night. It's in the decorated houses and the trees sparkling with light. Wow, we say, wow, we keep saying, if the child inside of us still lives. I wonder, as I wander out under the sky. Children own wonder. And so can we, if we get down to their level and see from where they see. This past week, I watched a child all lost in wonder, and I watched her dad all lost in wonder watching her. In pursuit of truth and beauty, we must remain children all our lives. Albert Einstein wrote, we must remain children all of our lives. You and I suspect, have watched countless Little League T-ball games where in the height of competition, the whole game comes to a screeching halt as a commercial jet flies overhead. 1 minute, they're missing the drive to second base because of ants in the grass, and the next they're dropping the ball out there in right field because of an American Airlines jet. Children see the wonder of creation down low in the individual blade of grass, and then they roll over, and they see the majesty of the sky. And they don't rush to get up and get on to the next thing. They gaze. But be warned, my friends. Be warned. Too many in this world are very good at killing wonder. Their cynicism refuses to let others experience what they have long ago killed in themselves. Beware. Danger. Also, please remember that no matter how bad the news, it cannot steal our wonder. Oh, busyness can. Our fears can. Cynicism can. Getting lost in my head and burying my heart inside of my brain, that can. Entitlement can, for sure. And it's the church's job to resuscitate wonder for us. It's the church's work to resuscitate wonder in our lives. We lose too much if we lose wonder. A beautiful liturgy with beautiful music, with beautiful people, and a beautiful building is meant to breathe life into us again, to take us back to that threshold of wonder. I can honestly say I've lived in St. Louis 65 years, and I've probably been to the Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis just down the road here probably once a month in the last 40 years. And I can say, again with no exaggeration, I still gasp. I still gasp when I open those doors and walk into that Cathedral Basilica again. Look around you, even in our little chapel tonight. The stuff of wonder is here too, all around us. Your families, your friends, your lovers, yourself and your heart. It's pretty wonderful to be together here tonight in the dark. And tonight we stand with millions around the world doing just what we're doing here right now. That's pretty wonderful. And I'd suggest to you tonight that here we are tapping into the vast reserves of reverence and awe that have largely remained untapped for us. Is it any wonder then that awesome wonder is the place where science and faith meet? A scientist who loses his wonder has nothing to say, nor does a priest. I lost my wonder once. It seemed any capacity I ever had for wonder, for even several years, had disappeared. I don't want to live there anymore. Those were amongst the hardest years of my life and of my faith. An atheist who has wonder is more my kin than any Christian who has no wonder. One of those atheists wrote, and I quote, "The feeling of awed wonder that life can give us is one of the highest experiences of which the human psyche is capable. It is truly one of the things that makes life worth living." I get that. I read a whole book that was only about a fly. The author saw it as a treasure wherein were shut up together all that God has done in all the world, what God has done in that fly, and this much in a little there, what God has done at large in the whole world is all right there in that little fly. Can we really see the whole world in a fly? Or in a drop of water? Or in a grain of sand? Through the lens of science, we can see how even the smallest thing can be a gateway to an experience of the extraordinary. We walk past 1,000 natural miracles every day. Another great scientist, Albert Einstein, wrote, "He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause in wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed." So do you see, my friends, that this is the fountain of youth? Anyone who maintains the capacity for wonder never grows old. When I have lost my wonder, I have lived too long. What would it take for me to walk out of this Christmas Mass tonight in a state of unencumbered wonder? As you leave here tonight, I encourage you to take yourself in the rest of your week, in the rest of this year, perhaps in the rest of your life, to take yourself to where wonder can happen still for you. Alongside a child, visiting a local park, picking up a science book or taking a science class, visiting one of those amazing museums just a few miles from here, our planetarium, getting up early for a sunrise. You won't see me there. But you will see me rushing out for a sunset no matter what's going on. If somebody says, Gary, you got to get outside, it's the most beautiful sunset, you'll see me rushing past you to see that. Maybe what we can do is take a wonder walk, drop the devices and gaze at the clouds and the stars. Pay more attention to what's immediately in front of us. Restore our devotion. Restore our devotion to anything or to anyone. To let ourselves care more. I have to retrain myself to experience the world anew, to open my eyes and see, taste, and touch as if for the first time. My friends, it falls to us this Christmas night to penetrate deeper and deeper into the gift of being placed in a world of mystery, wonder, delight. I leave you tonight with these few words penned by the poet William Blake over 200 years ago now. To see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. I wonder, as I wonder, out under the sky,